Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. I'm going to turn a plant in a bucket into a plant in a pot. Not necessarily the right time to repot this plant, but it's taking up too much space in this pot. Now we've got slug trails all across the top of this pot, which I put some slug pellets in, and I do believe I would probably have got it. I doubt if it's still around. It did manage to damage, this is the new growth here, so it did manage to damage the new leaf before it was got, and then it sort of went away. But I don't know what sort of pot this is going to go in. I haven't got a clue until I find out what sort of root system it's got. And we're not going to find that out till we get it out of the pot, are we? So, because it gives the impression it's a really large plant. But this is the problem you get when your pot's too big. There's enough bark in there to pot 3 or 4 other plants in small pots, and that bark's just wasted because it's in the bottom of the pot where the roots don't go. But I don't know whether I've been giving this enough water or not enough, simply because I couldn't see in the pot. This is actually a good root system, so this should take off quite nicely. There's nothing wrong with this bark, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with this bark. I just don't like not being able to see roots and not knowing. It smells of bark, if you see what I mean. It doesn't smell of mushrooms or anything like that, so it's not gone off. And this does actually look like it's been grown on. With these tiny little pseudo bulbs down here, so it looks like it's been grown on from a very young plant, possibly even a seedling. But we have got areas where we've got lots of dead roots, and then we've got an area over here where we've got better roots. So not too bad. I'm going to tidy up. Oh, there's my camera. I'm going to take these off, they serve no purpose, and I'm going to cut out all this section here with these dead roots, which will leave a hollow under the plant and the good roots around the outside. And then we'll see where we go from there. But yeah, that's a reasonable root system. I'm not sure what I was expecting. You know, I was expecting, you know, from a good root system to nothing. Having not looked in the pot. This was one of those where I will often turn a plant upside down, hold the plant like that, and turn it upside down with the pot and lift the pot off. You can imagine what would have happened if I'd done that with this pot. It wouldn't have worked, basically. The bark would have gone all over the place. Yeah, so we haven't got a bad root system here. It's not too bad. It is capable of branching, so any damaged roots that are still alive should still branch out a bit higher up. So yeah, we'll have a tidy up. I mean, this section will just come off, just like that, which means I can now get at the area with the dead roots much easier. But I want to keep all these leaved canes because, you know, it's that's what makes it this size plant, basically. And I haven't got a clue where the next new growths are going to come out. I know where the last one came out, but I don't know where the next ones are going to come from. So it looks like there's one there just starting. That's nowhere near where I was expecting, because the one that's grown is here. So we're looking at the other side of the plant now, and we do have one shiny new root, well, a couple of shiny new roots actually coming out of that growth now. Now I didn't know that, you see. I didn't know whether this was a good time to repot it or not, because I couldn't see the roots. Well, that's pot luck. That is just pot luck to actually have new roots growing on that new growth, because that new growth's been there some time. Right, so we will, oh, what a waste. Never mind. I'm not going to use it again because I don't know how old it is. I don't know what type of bark it is. It feels pretty good stuff, actually. Seems such a waste. But I mean, I would have to sterilise it and then dry it off. You can sterilise stuff like this, just pour boiling water over it or through it, you know. That's enough to sterilise it, and then you've got to dry it off. And then I would still want to keep it separate from the bark that I currently use, so not sure it's worth the effort really. Anyway, that's not a bad plant, not bad at all. We get the old roots trimmed off. That's this stuff, yeah? It's blatantly obvious that this is nothing, it's just papery, yeah? We'll leave anything that looks white, yeah? And anything that is around this new growth. So we'll try not to damage these here. And then it does look like we might have another new growth coming there, but that's probably a root. And it looks like we might have a new growth there. That'll be good. Right, another clear up, and I'll probably be on my third cup of coffee by the time I come back. As has become obvious, the bit where I break off to clear up and come back can have quite a large gap in it. Sometimes a whole afternoon, because now it's lunchtime. It's actually 12:30 at the moment. But when I come back to put this in the pot, it might be 4 o'clock. It might be 1:45 because I get on with it and I want it done. Anyway, you don't see that bit is just a gap. See you later, see you in a bit. Apologies, it's not 1:45, it's 1:50. Took longer clearing up than I thought, but it's going to be nice to actually have a whole afternoon off where I don't have to do anything. Because I've been faffing around with Orchid Society stuff this morning. We're trying to work out where all our kit is, because we're having our meeting. What's today? Oh, it's Thursday. So our meeting's tomorrow evening, and it's not where it normally is. And it dawned on me, where's the kit? And it turns out it wasn't, or where it was supposed to be. I've got the sound system, so I know where that is. But then there's the laptop, the projector, and the projector stand. Well, it turns out that Neville's got the laptop. He doesn't know where the projector is, but he thinks Ken's got it. I haven't heard from Ken to say yes, he has got it. If he hasn't, he'll have to find out who has. And the projector stand is locked in the cupboard in the building where we usually have our meetings, so we can't get at it. So I'll take the sound system, and I will take my projector stand. I do have my own personal one, so that takes care of that. We sort out, Neville's got the laptop, if we can sort out who's got the projector, but I'm going to take my projector just in case. Should I take my laptop as well? Should I just take everything? Ugh. Anyway, what I'm going to do with this is going to go in what is deemed Burnham's large bark, which has some medium and some small sort of mixed in with it. And I'm going to use up what was left over from yesterday, because I didn't use it on what I was going to use it on. So we'll need a pretty, I've picked on this large flat pot, not because the roots are shallow, but because the plant is tall. Therefore it's bound to be unstable. And these large, wide, flat-bottomed pots are the most stable thing I've got because of the wide, flat bottom. So that's the idea of using that. We'll get out as much rubbish as we can see. Sticks, grass, bits of wood, various degrees. Oops, another bit. Right, that doesn't look bad. There's some reasonable sized pieces in there. There's still a bit of cocoa husk in there left over from yesterday. There's a little bit of charcoal in there, but not much, so I'm going to add some so that it has actually got a splash of charcoal in amongst it. I'm getting a look about the mix that I use now and the volume of charcoal. It's awful when the first time you water the pot, you get black water comes out the bottom with all the dust. But one watering usually clears virtually all of it in one go. And the next watering it comes out reasonably clean. Right, so we will get a layer in there. We'll put a layer of the big crocking stuff in the bottom. Right, and because I've got a new growth here with new roots and therefore the potential for another new growth here, but we've got what looks like a new growth here as well, I've got a new growth on both sides, so it's going in the middle. Well, normally I would push it up against one side, predicting where the new growths are going to come towards the middle. But because I've got one potentially coming out each side at the moment, the plant goes in the middle this time. Right. And luckily with a root system like this, which is it's quite substantial actually, there's a lot of roots here. You know, obviously I've got to try and get as much media in between these roots as possible. Now if this media was wet, that would be incredibly difficult. But because it's not this time, you know, because I haven't got the amount of cocoa husk that I've been using lately, because that's not there, this is just floating down in between the roots quite nicely, filling up all the gaps. And it doesn't work, you know, this tapping and all this sort of stuff, if the media's wet, it doesn't work, it sticks, it just hangs on. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lift the plant and shake it so that I can now get some more media in and the plant's a bit higher in the pot. But having first got enough media around the roots and filled in all the gaps. And we shall have to mix some more up. That didn't go far, did it? I'm surprised. But then I suppose these are quite large pots. Right, we'll have some more of that. Minus sticks, twigs, grass, and assorted other types of wood. A bit more charcoal. See how good a guess that is. It's just basically now, all I'm doing now is just bringing the media up round the base of the plant. So this I've done my pushing down now. This is the loose stuff now. This is the stuff that just sits around the top. I might have to do a bit of pushing down this side, because that's got a gap down there. And I don't want a gap down there because that is right where the new growth's going to come out. So I would like that to get down into some reasonable media. Right. Bit of small stuff around the base of that because that's where those new roots are. And that's about it. Now, I'm not sure that needs a stake, you know. Shall we bother staking it? Well, I've got them here, I just as well use them, haven't I? Providing they'll grab hold of something in the pot. Whoops, pointy end first. We discussed pointy end yesterday. And suitable size clip for that. Probably about there. Yep. And then on the other side, I'll hold it from both sides and get that to go in a bit. That would be nice. Make it a bit more upright. I'll need a bigger clip this time. Something like that. It's just not holding. Too big. Too big this time. Right, so again, come down one. Trouble, I need some in between actually. I've got great big ones and little ones. And sort of medium sized ones, and the grabby ones are probably too tight. Oh, I don't know. That'll be alright. Right, so that's two. Yeah, I'm still taking the moving the media instead of moving the pot. But then we haven't really watered this in yet, so I think that's secure enough. That'll do. Right, so all the stuff I left out yesterday, thinking I was going to use it, has now got to be put away, along with what I got out today. So there we go, that is Dendrobium spectabile. That was a gift from Zaina, and it should have had 2 lovely flower spikes on, but some great clumsy clod actually knocked one of the spikes off. But nonetheless, we had a flower spike on it. Nice long-lasting blooms, and basically from an alien country. They do not look natural. The shape is so weird, but very, very attractive nonetheless. So yeah, that's that one, and that now takes up a lot less space in the grow room than it did before. Well, on the shelf, the plant takes up the same amount of space, but I'm going to have to see about doing something about dust on my plants. Most of my plants that have been in there a while haven't got dust on them, but I got a feeling that this is dust that's like there from when it arrived and it's never been removed. And obviously that cuts down photosynthesis. Yeah, I think we could do with giving that a little wipe over. That's easiest way to do leaves, you know, if it's just dust and you're not trying to get chemical residue or anything like that off, quite honestly, is just some cotton wool pads and some clean water. Preferably RO water or distilled water, then you won't leave watermarks. Whereas if you leave tap water, you're going to add calcium onto the leaves and it will dry and leave a film. So yeah, so good watering now, and probably another good watering the day after, and maybe a couple of days after that, because it will take a while for that to bed in and actually settle itself down and stay wet. It never stays wet for long when it's new, but it will do soon. So there we go, that's that one done. See you next time.